What's going on? What's going on? Where's Devin at?
Downstairs.
He's downstairs?
In the basement.
Does he have any weapons or anything?
No, not that I know of.
No? Okay. How about this? You let me and the other officer go out
Going down
there.
absolutely.
Sir, are you okay? No. Can you come over here with us?
Come here. You come here.
I'll go talk to him.
I'm going to take you that.
No,
I'm going to go down there and talk to him, okay? But what I'll have you do is just stay here with her, okay?
Alright.
Alright.
He punched you in the mouth too?
Alright.
We gotta go to the basement.
The stepson decided he didn't like us being his. He was supposed to have an agreement that he was going to pay $250 a month to stay here. He said that was just for 1 month. I said, that's not how this world works.
Rex, is it?
Yeah.
Rex, he hit you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
He hit
Right here.
At
Threw
least
me up against the.
Is that blood on your hand? What is that?
Yep.
Yes, that's from him falling.
Blood?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't see if you were cut or not.
And then threw me up against the.
What's his name?
Devon.
Yeah, Devon, sorry.
They've had contact
When
with
I
him.
go into this door, how do I get to the basement?
Straight downstairs.
Thank you.
And his,
threw me into
Do you acknowledge no weapons down there?
we know people.
You tell me what happened from your perspective.
We just came, today's my birthday.
Happy birthday. I'm sorry that
Thank
it's like
you.
this, but still.
Right, we came in from eating, and my husband said, did you make mozzarella sticks? I said, no. I said, Trinity would know better, that's our daughter, would know better than to try to make mozzarella sticks without her accent. Then he was like, maybe Devon. And then I saw the container, like it's on the stove, you can it's still sitting there. Like he made I was like, Devon, did you make the whole packet of mozzarella sticks? And he was like, no. I was like, well, the box is on the stove.
Yeah.
And he said, well, it's in the freezer. And I said, okay. So when I walked over there, I smelled urine.
Okay.
I said,
When you say over there, by the sink?
no, yeah, over by the stove.
Okay, by the stove.
I walked in the kitchen and I said, why does this kitchen smell like urine? And then he was like, well, do you clean the bathroom? Maybe it's a bathroom. His room is right under the kitchen, and the vent is right there. I said, well, I'm standing over the vent, and I smell urine. And then he started, so as he was talking, I walked down. I said, now what were you saying? And then he said, I was saying, do you clean the bathroom? I said, I use the bathroom upstairs. And then he started getting out. I said, watch your tone. And then he was like, no, do you clean the bathroom? I said, I use the bathroom. Well, somebody's been using the bathroom. I was like, again, Devon, watch your tone. And then I said, you know what? You told Rex that you were a tenant. I told you last week, either get a job or get a link to help provide for the house.
No. I am sorry to interrupt.
I know, because I'm going through the whole story.
What I want to ask you real quick, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can I have you just describe what happened physically, and I will have Officer Tucker get the statement
the whole
of the thing
statement.
leading before?
Okay.
Just because I don't want Devon just sitting there by himself and be thinking, what the heck's going on? I can go over there and be with him.
I was giving you the backstory.
No,
because my husband,
absolutely appreciate
and my
that,
husband heard me, us going back and forth.
Okay.
So he came down, and he said, you're not a tenant. And then my husband was standing at the door. Devon stood up, and he was like showing me on his phone, these are my savings, these are what I got. I was like, that on the phone don't help contribute to the household. Yeah. Because we're not seeing any of that.
Yep.
You saying you got savings or whatever. So my husband was like, well, where's the money at? You had an agreement with your mom, $250. He was like, yeah, I'm walking up towards you, but I'm not.
You okay?
I told you.
And this is Devon towards Rex.
Towards Rex.
Okay.
And then he was like, bam, and punched him right in the mouth.
How many times do you think Devon punched Rex?
He punched him a good 4 times, and then I tried to get in the middle, and I was like, no, stop. And he was still punching him over my arm. And then I was like, I'm calling the police. And then he was like, call the police. And as soon as I went upstairs, he started again.
No, Angela, I've 2 quick questions for you before I got out of here, but Officer Tucker's going to remain here, okay? One, would you be fine at the end of Officer Tucker speaking with you if he photographed the basement where this occurred?
Yes.
Do you have a phone on you? Okay.
Yes.
Second, how has Devon been doing recently? I know I've talked to him in the past where he's had some mental health issues. Has he been taking his prescribed medications or anything?
No, he's not. He's been a hermit.
Okay.
And as soon as he hears us stirring, he leaves.
How long ago did he stop taking them?
I don't know. I don't think he's ever been on since that last altercation.
What is his official diagnosis?
I don't know.
Okay, that's okay.
He said he went to the hospital because he thought he was sick, and now he's diabetic.
Okay.
But he's not.
I just couldn't remember from last time because I know we talked to him last time where he was having some homicidal thoughts towards reps.
So, exactly.
I know that was a good month and a half, 2 months ago, give or take a little bit. So I just wanted to check.
So he's just been avoiding all of us. Okay. Like when he hears us up, he leaves.
I tell you what, Angela, I'm going to take him to the police department so that way he's not just sitting here alone.
Okay.
Officer Tucker's going to stay here to do. I got it. 10 for it.
Just redo your thing. Your
body cam?
Body cam. You can get my whole statement.
Hey, no, 100%. He has some paperwork to go over with you though, just because you are a witness as well, and then he has to do some of it with Rex as well.
Right.
So he does have some, but I have your statement in terms of what happened and what you witnessed.
Right.
He just might have to have you write a few things down. Okay. So you need anything from me?
No,
I'm gonna get him to the PD. Okay. Devin, can we talk over here though? Just kind of want to do it separately from mom and stepdad, okay?
You guys see me every single day outside walking from morning to night picking up garbage. The first thing that he actually starts doing is bringing up money. And that's the worst thing you want to do to a person who's literally trying to do stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, granted, majority of my money that I'm spending is my own savings.
Yeah.
It's not even his savings or any of his stuff that he's even provided to me. It's just I buy myself my own stuff.
Devin, can I ask what happened today when he was bringing up money?
Oh, yeah, I ended up, he kept getting closer to me. So obviously I had to push him back, and I threw a couple punches at him.
Okay.
So yes, I did
Devin, do you mind if I check your hands? I want to make sure does this hurt at all? Because you have a couple cuts right here on your pinky here.
No.
It doesn't hurt? Can you make fists? It doesn't hurt at all to make fists?
Yeah.
Can you do that for me?
Yeah,
does that hurt? I want to make sure you're okay.
I know, but
I would say I want to make sure you're okay, man.
It's the distance.
I say you remember me? We've talked a couple times.
That's why I'm like, I remember you. So I'm like,
I say deep breath, man. I just want to make sure you're okay. The hand doesn't hurt to do this or anything?
It doesn't. It's just the
No, I know you said you threw a couple punches at him.
Yeah.
Did he punch you at all?
No.
Are you hurt at all?
No. I mean, no.
Okay.
Just more of the simple fact of like, even though I visit sometimes, I'll even go out and go do other things, take the train, whatever, come back, so on and so forth, and stuff like that. Not once have I been acknowledged for anything.
But there's things you're doing.
Yeah, even if I go bring, even if let's say he goes takes out his garbage or anything like that, and I go and I'm walking past or something like that, doing my cardio, try to do 1,000 other things. I'm only one body with one brain, so I can't do everything.
I get that.
So I'm bringing that in. Don't get acknowledged for it. Whatever I see that the sink is full of dishes, I do those dishes.
That's very nice of you.
Don't get acknowledged for it.
I'm sorry they're not acknowledged.
I know.
Devin, can I ask you a question?
It's not even that. It's just a simple
Devin, after he was coming towards you and you had to push him back and punch him, how did it end? Did he walk away? Did you walk away?
Well,
did mom come down and separate you? How did it end?
My mom was already down there. She already separated us.
Okay.
But once she came up, started talking on the phone, I could reenact it. He was
as long as you don't have to hit me, right?
Yeah.
Right.
After all that stuff.
Okay.
I was like, so how you feeling, this, that, and the other, blah, blah. I started talking to him, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And then he kind of just nonchalantly just started looking at his watch, being like, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
All of this going off because blah, 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 blah. But I'm sitting there trying to sit there and say, well, granted, I'm trying to explain to him and try to talk to him so he can actually hear or whatever.
Of course.
I don't know his understanding of senses. Like he could be deaf or something like that, or he could be thinking of stuff in his own head.
Devin,
so
That's stepdad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you and stepdad ever gotten into it like this before? I know I've talked to you before when it's been verbal between you guys. What about physical in the past?
I mean, we have, like, when I was in Rock Falls, like I said, this was also when I was in Rock Falls working.
A while ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
A while ago.
How things been since I've been here? I know it's been a couple months, because you remember you talked to me at the PD, you walked down?
Yeah.
How have things been since then? I know they were a little bit heated at that point. Have they been okay before today?
I mean, like I said, we don't talk. You know what I'm saying? We don't exchange anything. We don't talk or anything like that. It's kind of like, it felt like I was just being a ghost there anyway. So.
No, Devin, I know you said the hand's okay. Do you need any medical attention?
No.
Or are you hurt at all?
No, it's just.
No.
I did wrestling. I did boxing.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
My pain tolerance right now is just.
Okay, I don't want you to be in any pain though. I know you can tolerate it, but I don't want you to be in it.
Plus, also, I did like taser training and shit like that.
Yeah, but I don't want you to be in pain. Like I know you got a high threshold for it, but pain's still pain. Like I know you're tougher than it, but I don't want you to be in any. Hey, I get you. If you say you're good, I'm gonna take your word on it.
There's not sleep, freaking rust.
No, Devin, I've always been straightforward and honest with you. Okay. Because you punched him, I do have to place you under arrest for it, okay?
And I understand that.
Now, you've always been cool with me. Would you be okay if I handcuff you up front, not behind your back? Because I don't want to do it behind your back if you don't want to. If you're okay with it, I will.
Well, what's the whole rule? Like, what was the whole rule behind the back or for it?
Typically, behind the back, we do if we need to take control of someone more. You've always been nothing but cool and respectful for me, so I'm not worried about, like, hey, if I cuff you up front, you're going to punch me or something like that. I know you're not going to do that, because you've always been cool with me every time I talk to you.
Officers were dispatched to a reported domestic disturbance involving a family dispute that had turned physical. The call originated from inside the home after an altercation between an adult son and his stepfather. Officers arrived at the residence and were met by a woman who identified herself as the mother. She appeared distressed and immediately informed officers that her son had attacked her husband. When asked where her son was, she stated that he was downstairs in the basement. Officers asked whether there were any weapons in the home or in the basement area. The mother stated that there were no weapons that she was aware of. Officers requested permission to enter and go downstairs to make contact with the son. The mother agreed and allowed both officers inside. As they prepared to move toward the basement, officers encountered the stepfather, later identified as Rex. An officer asked if he was okay. Rex responded that he was not okay and appeared shaken. Officers asked him to come over and remain with them while they assessed the situation. One officer directed Rex to stay upstairs with the mother, while the other officer prepared to go to the basement. Another officer stated that they needed to go down and speak with the son. Officers coordinated their positions, ensuring that one officer remained with the alleged victim and witness while the other made contact with the suspect. While upstairs, officers observed visible blood on Rex's hand. An officer asked about the blood and whether Rex had been cut. Rex indicated that the blood was from being struck. He stated that he had been thrown against an object in the basement. Officers noted the presence of blood as potential evidence of an assault. The mother began explaining that the conflict stemmed from an ongoing dispute involving her adult son, Dion, who had been living in the basement. She stated that there had been an agreement for him to pay rent in the amount of $250 per month. According to her, the son had paid for 2 months and then refused to continue paying, stating that the agreement was only for 1 month. She stated that she told him that was not how the arrangement worked. Officers asked clarifying questions about the living arrangement and the events leading up to the physical altercation. The mother stated that the argument escalated after the rent issue was brought up again. She explained that tensions had been ongoing and that the son had become increasingly withdrawn, spending most of his time isolated in the basement. An officer asked the mother to describe what happened physically during the incident. She explained that after a verbal argument, her husband came downstairs to address the rent issue directly with her son. She stated that her husband was standing at the basement door when the son stood up and began showing information on his phone, claiming he had savings. The mother stated that she told him that having money on a phone did not help contribute to the household. According to the mother, the argument continued, and her husband questioned why rent had not been paid. She stated that the son began walking toward her husband. Officers asked for clarification on who moved toward whom, and the mother confirmed that her son moved toward her husband. She then stated that her son punched her husband in the mouth. When asked how many times, she estimated that he punched him approximately 4 times. She stated that she attempted to intervene by stepping between them and telling him to stop. Despite her efforts, she stated that the son continued punching her husband over her arm. The mother stated that she told her son she was calling the police. She said he responded by telling her to call them. She stated that after she went upstairs to make the call, the son resumed the assault. Officers documented her statement and asked if she would be willing to allow photographs of the basement where the incident occurred. She agreed. Officers also asked whether her son had any known mental health diagnoses or whether he had been taking prescribed medication. She stated that he was not taking medication and had been avoiding the family, leaving the house when he heard them moving around. She stated that there had been a prior police interaction involving her son approximately 1 to 2 months earlier, during which he had expressed concerning thoughts. Officers acknowledged this information and noted it for context. One officer informed the mother that they intended to take her son to the police department rather than leaving him alone at the residence. While one officer remained upstairs to continue documenting statements from the mother and Rex, another officer proceeded to the basement to make contact with the son. The officers coordinated to ensure separation between the involved parties as they continued the investigation. As one officer remained upstairs with the mother and Rex, another officer moved toward the basement to make contact with Dion. Before descending, the officer confirmed again that there were no known weapons in the basement. The officer announced himself and asked Dion if he would be willing to talk. Dion responded that he would rather go outside to talk, but the officer explained they needed to speak with him and keep everyone separated. The officer introduced himself and explained that he wanted to hear Dion's side of what happened. Dion immediately began talking about money and stated that the first thing his stepfather brought up was finances. He said that was the worst thing to bring up and claimed he was trying to work on himself. Dion stated that most of the money he used came from his own savings and that it was not money provided by his stepfather. The officer listened and allowed Dion to continue speaking. Dion explained that he bought his own items and felt that his efforts around the house were not acknowledged. He stated that even when he did chores such as taking out garbage or washing dishes, he did not receive recognition. The officer acknowledged his statements and redirected the conversation back to the physical confrontation. When asked directly what happened when the argument escalated, Dion stated that his stepfather kept getting closer to him. Dion admitted that he pushed his stepfather back and threw a couple of punches. The officer asked for clarification, and Dion confirmed that he did punch him. The officer asked Dion if he was injured. Dion stated that he was not hurt. The officer requested to check Dion's hands for injuries and observed small cuts on one finger. The officer asked whether it hurt to make a fist, and Dion stated that it did not. The officer continued checking to ensure there were no injuries requiring medical attention. The officer asked whether Rex had punched Dion during the altercation. Dion stated that Rex did not punch him. He stated that he was not injured and did not need medical care. The officer documented this information and continued asking questions to understand how the incident ended. Dion stated that his mother came downstairs and separated them. He said that after the physical fight stopped, his stepfather continued talking, and Dion attempted to explain his position. He described his stepfather looking at his watch while Dion was talking. Dion stated that there was no further physical contact after that point. The officer asked whether Dion and his stepfather had ever been in a physical altercation before. Dion stated that there had been prior verbal disputes and mentioned one incident in the past when his stepfather suggested fighting with boxing gloves, but Dion said that did not turn physical. He stated that the incident being investigated was the first time it had escalated to this level. The officer asked about Dion's relationship with his stepfather in recent months. Dion stated that they did not speak and avoided each other, describing himself as feeling like a ghost in the house. The officer acknowledged this and again asked whether Dion was experiencing any pain or needed medical assistance. Dion again stated that he was not hurt. The officer explained that, based on Dion's admission to punching his stepfather, an arrest would be required. Dion acknowledged this and stated that he understood. The officer asked whether Dion would be willing to be handcuffed in front rather than behind his back, explaining that it would be more comfortable and that Dion had been cooperative. Dion asked about the difference between front and rear handcuffing, and the officer explained it was a control measure and not a punishment. Dion agreed to be handcuffed in front. The officer applied the handcuffs, checked for tightness, and double-locked them to prevent tightening. The officer asked Dion if the cuffs were too tight, and Dion stated they were not. The officer then asked Dion whether he needed to retrieve any personal items such as a phone or wallet before leaving. Dion stated that he had everything he needed. The officer confirmed that Dion had his phone and conducted a brief check of his pockets before escorting him out of the basement. As Dion was escorted toward the patrol vehicle, the officer continued speaking calmly and ensured that Dion remained separated from his stepfather. Dion continued talking about external stressors and financial issues, but did not resist or attempt to flee. Once at the patrol vehicle, the officer asked Dion if he had anything else in his pockets. After confirming, the officer opened the door and instructed Dion to sit inside and fasten his seatbelt. Dion complied without issue. While Dion was seated in the vehicle, officers continued gathering information from Rex upstairs. Rex confirmed that Dion had punched him multiple times in the face and thrown him against a freezer. He stated that this was the first time the confrontation had turned physical, although there had been verbal disputes in the past. Officers documented Rex's injuries, including visible facial injuries and blood, and noted that his account was consistent with the mother's statement. Multiple witness statements were recorded to establish the sequence of events leading to the assault. With Dion secured in the patrol vehicle and both parties separated, officers moved toward completing the arrest process and finalizing the investigation at the scene as the incident transitioned toward its critical enforcement phase. With Dion secured in the patrol vehicle, officers returned their focus to completing the investigation inside the residence. One officer remained with Rex to conduct a detailed follow-up interview while ensuring the scene remained calm and controlled. Rex was asked to walk through the incident again from the beginning, focusing specifically on when the verbal argument became physical. Rex stated that earlier in the evening he and his wife had returned home after taking her out for her birthday. They had stopped at a store before returning to the house. Once home, Rex noticed a large quantity of mozzarella sticks left on the stove and questioned who had used the oven. He stated that he did not believe the younger child in the home could have done so and assumed Dion was responsible. According to Rex, his wife went downstairs to ask Dion about it while Rex was still bringing items in from the car. Rex stated that the discussion between his wife and Dion quickly turned into an argument centered on money and rent. He said Dion insisted that he had savings and did not need to pay rent anymore. Rex stated that he confronted Dion about this, explaining that a tenant agreement did not end after 1 or 2 months and that rent obligations continued. Rex said Dion became increasingly agitated as the discussion continued. Rex stated that Dion stood up and began moving toward him during the argument. Rex said that he did not strike Dion at any point. He stated that Dion suddenly punched him in the mouth and continued striking him multiple times. Rex described being hit several times in the face and being thrown backward into a freezer located in the basement area. Rex stated that his wife attempted to intervene by stepping between them and telling Dion to stop. He said that Dion continued punching even as she tried to separate them. Rex stated that after his wife went upstairs to call the police, Dion resumed striking him. Rex said the altercation eventually stopped when Dion backed off and Rex told him the situation was over and that police were being called. Officers observed visible injuries on Rex's face consistent with his account. Blood was visible, and officers documented these injuries as part of the investigation. Rex stated that his watch had detected a fall during the incident when he was pushed against the freezer. He explained that the alert likely triggered one of the 911 calls, in addition to the call placed by his wife. Officers asked Rex whether Dion had ever physically assaulted him in the past. Rex stated that there had been verbal confrontations previously, but that this was the first time Dion had physically attacked him. He denied ever striking Dion and stated that he had only attempted to talk to him about rent and household responsibilities. Officers also asked Rex a standard series of domestic violence assessment questions. Rex stated that Dion had not previously kicked or choked him prior to this incident. When asked about threats involving weapons, Rex stated that Dion had previously made statements involving a sniper, which officers documented. Rex stated that Dion had not threatened to harm police, himself, or any pets, and that no pets were in the home. Rex also stated that Dion frequently left the house and spent time away from the residence, sometimes returning agitated. Rex said he was unsure whether Dion was consuming alcohol or other substances during those times. Officers documented this information without further speculation. While this interview continued, officers ensured that Dion remained secure and calm in the patrol vehicle. An officer checked on Dion again and asked whether he was experiencing any pain or needed medical attention. Dion stated again that he was not injured and did not require medical care. Officers noted minor cuts on his hand, but no functional impairment. Officers informed Dion that he was being arrested for domestic battery based on his admission to striking his stepfather and the corroborating statements from witnesses. Dion acknowledged this and did not argue the decision. Officers reiterated that the arrest was based on the physical assault and not the financial dispute. Officers completed the necessary arrest documentation and ensured that all parties were separated and safe, the residence was secured, and no further disturbances were reported. With the critical enforcement action completed, officers prepared to transport Dion from the scene while finalizing reports and evidence collection, including photographs of Rex's injuries and the basement area where the assault occurred. The situation stabilized with Dion in custody, Rex receiving attention for his injuries, and the mother remaining at the residence to complete her statement with officers. The incident then moved from the active response phase into resolution and post-arrest procedures. After Dion was taken into custody, officers completed the remaining steps required at the scene. One officer remained with Rex to ensure his immediate safety and to finish documenting his injuries and statement. Rex remained cooperative and answered follow-up questions as officers clarified details of the assault, including the number of strikes and the location where he was pushed against the freezer. Photographs were taken of his visible injuries, including blood on his face and hands, to document the condition observed by officers at the time of the response. Officers also documented the condition of the basement area where the altercation occurred. With the mother's consent, they photographed the space to preserve the scene as described in witness statements. No weapons were located in the basement or elsewhere in the immediate area during this process. Officers noted that the residence was otherwise calm once Dion had been removed from the home. Rex was asked whether he needed medical attention. He did not request emergency medical services at the scene. Officers advised him that if his condition changed or if he later discovered additional injuries, he should seek medical care and notify police. This information was recorded as part of the incident report. The mother remained present and continued cooperating with officers as paperwork was completed. She confirmed her earlier statement regarding the argument over rent, the physical assault she witnessed, and her attempt to intervene. Officers ensured she understood the next steps in the process and advised her on how to obtain a copy of the police report if needed. She was also informed of available resources should she or Rex need further assistance following the incident. With Dion secured in the patrol vehicle, an officer conducted a final check to ensure the handcuffs were properly fitted and that Dion was seated safely with his seatbelt fastened. Dion did not report any new injuries and did not request medical attention. He remained verbally calm during transport preparation and did not resist or attempt to interfere with officers. Before leaving the residence, officers performed a final walkthrough to confirm there were no additional safety concerns. All involved parties were separated, and no further disturbances were observed. Officers then cleared the residence and prepared to transport Dion to the police department. During transport, officers did not conduct additional questioning related to the incident. Dion remained in custody as officers focused on safely completing the transport. Any statements made during transport were limited and not investigative in nature. At the police department, Dion was processed in connection with the assault on his stepfather. Standard booking procedures were followed. No additional charges beyond those related to the physical altercation were discussed on scene. Officers completed and submitted all required documentation, including written statements, photographs, and body-worn camera footage. The incident was classified as a domestic violence case based on the family relationship between the involved parties and the physical assault described by witnesses. Officers noted that the dispute originated from a disagreement over rent and household arrangements, but that the arrest was based solely on the physical violence that occurred. No further information regarding court dates, bond status, or case disposition was available at the time of the report. The case was forwarded to the appropriate prosecuting authority for review. Any decisions regarding charges, court proceedings, or future conditions were to be determined through the legal process. No internal administrative findings or disciplinary actions related to the officer's response were noted in the available information. Officers documented that standard procedures were followed, including immediate separation of parties, medical assessment inquiries, and collection of witness statements and physical evidence. The incident concluded with Dion in custody, Rex remaining at the residence, and the mother present as a witness. The situation was stabilized and no further police action was required at the scene. Dion is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law.